So this is a perfect time for us to stop, think about the strategies that we want to employ, think really about where we're going to be taking this company over the next 3 to 5 years, and then very specifically back up from 3 to 5 years into what do we need to achieve in the next 12 to 18 months to really be on track.
Cornell is in the middle of I think, a pretty dynamic and exciting change. One is not only the change in the corporate level in terms of our new CEO, James Hyman, who I think is bringing innovation, credibility, excitement, and a lot of knowledge to our company that we lacked. But in addition to that, our board of directors, we have a significantly changed board of directors within the last 30, 45 days, and with that has come a diverse group of individuals who bring with them knowledge of juvenile services, adult services, community corrections, businesses, startups. It's a dynamic group that is more engaged than the last board of directors, not only more engaged, but excited about the business and what we're doing and believe that we have opportunity for growth.
We've always had a vision, but it wasn't really clear how we out in the field, out in operations, would kind of systematically go through the process of reaching our goals, reaching our directives. So I think just with new leadership, having a clear understanding of where we want to go and how we're going to get there.
What we're embarking on now, I think, is a very clear course of what we need to build to be successful as we look out in the future, the next 1, 2, 3 years. It starts very simply with fixing what we have currently, because there's a lot of procedures and processes in place. It's a business that does have success, but candidly, we do have issues. And so before we can get the ability from the street for credibility to move forward, we have to address issues that we've encountered in the past. Where we've had problems, we have to deal with those first, and then we move on from there.
And I see great potential for the growth of the company, shareholder value, and the employees of this organization. So I'm just proud to be a part of the opportunity to really put us back on Front Street.
We have the new board. We have a leadership team now that is structured to go forward for the next few years. And I'm sitting in my role as CEO with a very clear sense of what we need to do for the next 2, 3, 4 years. What that really comes down to is a couple of things. One, we need to fix the stuff that doesn't work well today. Two, we need then to take our strengths and grow that specifically to make a better growing business. Everything is within our capability. The question is just whether we're going to do it.
One of the things we're going to try to do is begin to build an infrastructure that today we don't have. We don't have an infrastructure in the way of some things in compensation. We have an issue that we're going to be trying to clarifying our policies and procedures, trying to speed up the transaction time in human resources to be able to release the field a little bit more to where they can be quicker to react to their situations and their particular issues, as well as we're in the process of implementing some new training, which will hopefully help in the way of recruiting people. We're going to be giving some training to individuals out in the field who are actually doing the hiring, helping them to be able to pick better applicants, more qualified individuals. Hopefully that'll result in a reduced turnover rate, and that'll result in better morale in the facilities and less risk.
The people make the difference. They make it work. With that in mind, we think the important thing is bringing in good people, properly training them, and doing everything we can to retain them. Staff turnover is a very serious problem that we're still facing today. You can't blame it all on pay. Pay is a motivator, but there are other kinds of things that people look for in their employment. Job satisfaction is number one. Has been and always will. We need to keep our employees satisfied with what they're doing. We need to give them opportunities for advancement. We need to make sure that we recognize and reward them when they do a good job. And of course, getting that old paycheck every 2 weeks doesn't hurt either, so it's a combination of those things.
We have people with individual skills. We have jobs that are pretty important, but it is really us collectively that is going to make the difference. The skills that we need at Cornell are not necessarily the individual skills of person A or person B, but it's the collective organizational skills of what we have to be really good at Cornell.
As you move from location to location, you can find different levels of efficiency within our own programs. But as a company as a whole, we need to work on the efficiency by way that we work with human resources and the systems of hiring staff, et cetera, the financial systems and how we interface with them, as well as IS. I think that at times there's a disconnect between the Houston Service Center and the programs, and we need to close that gap.
Finance and operations historically have been disconnected. I think we have a wealth of information that we can provide them to help them do what they do better. They can assist us as well. So I think the first step that we have to encounter is we have to help them understand how we can work together, how we're partners in the ultimate success of the company, because at the end of the day, that's where it's critical. It's not that we in finance can do something better or they in operations act independently. We have to be able to trade information back and forth to enable them to say, I understand the consequences of this decision. I understand if I'm monitoring my budget what the implications are if I make a different choice. It's empowering upon us to say, this is the information that you need. Talk to us. Let's communicate back and forth. It's not a one-sided flow between finance and operations. We have to work together.
One of the concepts that we're introducing is EVA. EVA is an acronym. It's economic value added. And when you really distill it down, it's a very straightforward concept. We traditionally look at the business side of what we do in terms of contribution or income. EVA takes that one step further and recognizes that we have an investment in our business. We own buildings, we own furniture and equipment, we have accounts receivable. All of that is capital that's employed in the business. What EVA does is it takes what we've traditionally looked at as earnings and it applies a charge for the investment in the business and then looks now again, are we making a return on our investment? What's our operating contribution? We subtract out the cost of capital, of the investment in that program, that facility, and then we look and see how we're returning. This is new for us.
The first reaction people will have will be one of significant shock in some cases if they see a negative gap. The point is not to focus on the size of the gap. What we're trying to achieve on a go-forward basis is to reduce and shrink that gap. You can't overnight go from a negative to a positive. We realize that. It's fundamentally going to be a very difficult process to work through. But what the challenge will be is to year over year improve your performance along that spectrum. By doing that, we create the ability for the company to be stronger financially, and as well, we help everyone understand the ramifications of each decision they make at the program level.
Now, what does this really mean at the program level? Well, at the program level, now a director, a management team at the program, at the division, within an area, has information that can look at that program itself, understand from a customer perspective what value we're delivering to the customer and whether we're doing it consistently, and then also understand what's our investment and how are we going to return the business side. There are two pieces to every equation of what we've got to do. Are we delivering value to the customer? And then at the same time, based on that value, are we earning an economic profit on our investment in that business?
And I'm going to look at each program of where we have negative EVA and increase those programs, and also look at the positive programs and increase the value there as well. It'll help increase shareholder value, and it's something that the programs can utilize to help them make economic decisions.
There are things across the company, in each of the business units, at the facilities, that we all know may not work as well as we want them to work today. That we have to fix. We know we have a lot of programs that deliver tremendous value to our customers. They talk about that. They talk about wanting us to do more of that. We have to do that consistently, and we have to do it everywhere. Those two elements, excellent service to the customer, fixing the problems that don't work well, that's the foundation of what we have to do first. Fix and operate well.
We have to make sure that the people that are operating programs that are doing well continue to do well. We have to identify the programs that are underperforming and fix those issues. Facilities that aren't adding benefit, and we've already made some decisions around getting out of some operations, for example, in Washington, D.C., closing those operations down and redeploying our resources to other locations is going to help make us stronger as we get ready to grow.
They can run their operations more efficiently. that filters all the way back up. Candidly, they are the customer source. They drive, they create the revenues. We don't do that in the finance world. We report the results, and it's obviously important that we do that. But at the end of the day, they're the ones who create the value for the company. It starts at the field level. It starts there. And so it's incumbent upon us to support that process to make sure that they have the information they need, and correspondingly, they can produce the results that we all look for.
Having that sense of direction is really helping me personally just get energized and reinvest in where we're going. And I think it'll help the directors too. We've got a lot of good people, and folks want to know where we're heading and what they specifically need to do so we can be successful. And I think I had that information now.
We've just taken a look at our existing structure, and we've said we have 4 regions within our division, and so we're taking our regional directors and saying, look, you're going to own this particular, not just geography, but you're going to own the customers within this. And now our customers have also been limited since we've gone to service line. They have some specific customers that they can now deal with. So they've got a geography. They're saying everything within this area is mine. These people are my responsibility to get to know them, get to know what they want, to figure out how I can service them better, and also be able to push back from time to time and say, you know what, we'd love to do that for you, but we can't for what we're getting right now. In order for us to provide that service, we're going to need to renegotiate our rates here. And because you can do that when you understand your customers and understand their needs.
You're being asked in the Cornell system, not only are you delivering value to the customer, and are you going to be able to continue to do that in the future, but are you making decisions that are delivering value to the business from a financial perspective as well? And we're not taking a narrow focus on that in terms of just contribution. We're taking the full view of, are you adding value to the business from an investor perspective, taking into account how much investment we've placed in the business. The business unit leaders, secure, youth services, community corrections, and even at a more detailed level than that, residential juvenile, non-residential juvenile, and even down at the facility level, A1, Big Spring, they're the people that have to be responsible for driving their own growth.
The progress that we are embarking upon now is very simply, first, when we say fix and grow, we've identified operations that from a financial standpoint don't make sense for the company. It may be a risk decision, it may be a pure financial decision, but if you look at our operating results, if you look at them in the last few quarters, what you will see is as we separate those programs and discontinue them, if you look at continuing operating results, we have strength. We are growing year over year. The results are improving. It's exactly what this company is capable of, but we needed to head in that direction. We needed to make some difficult decisions. We've done that. It's the same path that we'll add as we go forward. We have to have the ability to have the information that we need. We have to act on that information appropriately. If we do that as we move down the road, we'll strengthen the company, we'll strengthen the financial results, and we'll have better information to communicate both internally as well as externally to the street.
Cornell has always been a great place to work because it's still a very new company. It's a very young company. Folks have the ability to come here and they can have the ability to make an impact in the way of they can help design the systems and the policies and the procedures. When you take a look at where we are in the lifespan of a company, it's not like we're a 40 and 50-year-old company that everything's embedded and everything's entrenched, especially with the situation we have with new leadership in James. The whole entire company is kind of going to go through the process of redefining how we make decisions, redefining who has responsibility, authority, and accountability. And that's a very rare opportunity you get to help make your own destiny. That's the exciting part about it. You can sit there and look to the future and say, you know something, I'm not just, on board the boat to row the boat. I get a chance to occasionally be able to put stuff into the system that'll maybe have a chance to help me direct where the ship is going to go, because that's the important part. And people want to have ownership in what they feel and understand. They want to be able to feel like they've had an input to help building the ship.
As a leadership team, whether that leadership team is defined as the board of directors, the executive committee, leadership team more broadly,